Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji, with me is Naru. How you doing, boy?
Welcome.
Hey, very nice. We don't have many guests that do that, you know?
I mean, we're here. We need to make the most of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. You've even come like full on kitted up for the episode as well.
I'm repping. What can I say?
You are full on repping. How's it going, buddy? It's good to finally see your face like in real time. I've seen
Real time.
pictures.
Yeah. Real time's good though. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
Yeah, stalking on LinkedIn isn't the same effect, you know. So
It has its moments. We all like a good stalk, but yeah, the real thing's good.
Yeah. I feel like I should do, the fan introduction stuff, like how we do on Inside Tracks. So for those people that don't know who you are, other than being one of our fantastic moderators of the Banter Boys Discord, quickly give us the spiel, who you are, what do you do, where you're from, that sort of jazz, and who do you support. You know, I guess we're gonna have to rip that Band-Aid off eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to get there. Yeah. Well, my name's Matt. Or Mr. Naru in the Discord. I support Man United. We'll get that out of the way nice and early, like you said. I mean, I spend a lot of time playing fan tracks, and any time that I'm not playing fan tracks, I'm spending in the Discord. Come join the Discord, guys.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Where are you from, by the way?
So I'm from Northern Ireland, the homeland of Conor Bradley, and Stuart Dallas, as we were discussing today. So yeah, across the pond.
So I told my sisters, because I was my family earlier having dinner and stuff like that. We were hosting someone that runs a restaurant here in London, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm so sorry, I have to run off early. I've got a pod scheduled with someone from Northern Ireland, and she's like, wait, what? She's like a massive fan of like the Irish accent in general.
Okay,
so she's like, you should send me the episode. I might actually listen to it.
There you go.
I was like, yeah, so
Shout
finally you're able to pull people onto the pod.
There we go. It's all about the reach.
I'm so glad that you boys answered the call, given the fact that Ryan's just fucking around in Europe, of watching Champions League games of his favorite team, Milan. Who did they play tonight? Was it Bratislava?
Bratislava.
Yeah. Such a random ass country to watch a Champions League game, but he's having a good time. But I mean, not only that, but the fact that you are a United fan, we've had a change at the helm, so to speak. I can't wait to kind of dig into that a little bit later on into the pod. But before we get started, I'm going to get all the biz out of the way, all the regular spiels. So listeners, welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. We are a default fan tracks pod. So you're listening to basically our regular default Tuesday or Wednesday midweek pod, basically, right? Where this is the one that we kind of release on Spotify and YouTube. We do extra pods and stuff like that. But now that's on our Patreon channel. For the low cost of $1 a month. You can donate more if you want. It's honestly up to you. But please do. You know, it's Christmas. But typically how our regular pods go is that we have two halves. In the first half, we do a bit of a data dump where we discuss the default scoring categories of the game week that just finished. So that would have been game week 12. And then we do league updates. So we kind of catch up in our leagues. Basically, chatting shop. Is that what the cool kids call it or whatever?
Let's go with that.
Yeah. And just kind of dig into our teams, see what's going good, what's going wrong, and, move that we're considering making, etc. I think waivers were declared for IGL. You're not in IGL, but there's waiver moves that we can potentially discuss, right? And then we take our halftime pint. And then after that, we answer questions that we get from our lovely, lovely Discord. Sometimes X, Blue Sky maybe eventually as well. Again, we've created an account there. So if you're on that platform, you feel free to follow us. I need to start posting stuff. I think the only thing I've posted there is a retweet of us at the FCAs. But yeah, so that's all the I guess the breakdown of how the episodes go. So Ross, what I'm gonna quickly get you to do though is the social plugs. So I'll let you do that right here.
Yeah, for sure. So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles @BanterB. on Discord in the Draft PL channel, Banta Boys #6585, on Reddit, /Banta_Boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name of Banta Boys.
Okay, so hopefully you've listened to Russ. If you're listening to us on Spotify, if you don't mind going to the main page quickly, it'll just take a couple of seconds. Give us a 5-star rating. We truly, truly appreciate it. Because I think only like 30% of you guys have rated the pod. Come on, man. That's not good enough. Come on. It's just a few clicks, right? And if you're on YouTube, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up button, the like button, drop us a comment as well. But more importantly, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and recommend us to all the losers in your league so that they can do better eventually. Hopefully not this season, so they don't beat you. But okay, I've rambled way too much. Yeah. So should we just chat United for a bit before we jump into the pod? Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
What else can we chat?
That's the only reason you showed up tonight, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why we're here.
So, Eric Ten Hag, was it a little too late?
I was a Ten Hag believer for longer than I maybe should. I think the FA Cup was definitely a turning point, or certainly what a lot of us fans thought could have been a turning point. But yeah, I mean, when all came to end, the time was right. Yeah, maybe a little bit too too late. But yeah, here we are, changing of the guard.
Yeah. And what do you think so far of I guess listen, it's only one game into the Amarim era, right? Luckily there's midweek football for you guys,
Yep.
So we're going to get another taste of how he's going to tweak tactics, etc. But as a fan, what can you tell us about what Amarim has said, interviews? What should we expect maybe from Manchester United assets for the next few game weeks moving forward at least?
I think it's an interesting one. I think whenever there's a manager change, there's always a lot of focus on it, especially in the fantasy world. I think there's been a lot of talk about so many different assets, and I think one kind of, I suppose, one thing that I'm trying to do with both a United fan hat and a fantasy manager hat on is just to temper expectations a bit. Not only for the good, but also just for the realistic. I think one thing that really stood out to me watching the first game, the pre-match interview, there was a lot of emphasis on training, and there has been a lot of discussion about the system and about the fact that there needs to be work done to get our players to fit into that system. And I think what we've seen at the weekend, it's not going to be what we're seeing going forward. He was quite open with the fact that the selections that he made at the weekend was based on how many players that he had available to train. So I don't expect to see the lineup that we saw at the weekend going forward. I think there'll be tweaks in there. But yeah, look, I think it's exciting. There's a lot of players up to this point. I mean, it's still early in the season, but there's been a lot of players they've got so much potential, and we've definitely seen a muted version of consensus top 3 pick with Bruno. We've got a couple of very kind of high upside wingers with a lot of potential there, and we've just not seen the heights that we know that they can get to up to this point. So I guess as a fan and as a manager, my kind of goal is to enjoy the change and to enjoy the improvements and to capitalize on any volatility that we see from the manager change as well.
Yeah, I'm not used to see United playing a back three, and I wouldn't say a lot of clubs have been successful over recent time with the back three formation. I mean, maybe Chelsea's Conte, but the thing is, for that system to work, you need hustlers in midfield, and that's one of the things that kind of stood out, and we kind of got reminded is that Casemiro isn't that runner, right, in midfield. So I mean, I actually dropped him in waivers in IGL this week just because I feel like Ugarte and another runner or hustler in that midfield is gonna get it. And you know what? Maybe like you said, right? Things might change, right? It might not be a 3-4-3. It could be a 3-5-2, and you know, an extra body in midfield maybe helps Casemiro out. And the other thing is like, you know, if you're a Bruno owner, you'd have been laughing your head off, you know, with the 45-point haul last week. The week before that, it was a 25-point haul. But then you kind of got brought back down to reality with the 8.5 against Ipswich, like a promoted team, a team that you'd expect at least double digits against if you own Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, I mean, just looking at his average position on the field, it seemed like he dropped deeper.
Yep.
But that was more so for the sake of Manchester United versus, I mean, listen, managers of clubs don't really care about fantasy games, right? So, but looking at that, it was a little worrying that yes, he was on the ball more, but he was further away from goal. So again, I think maybe we just, you know, take your advice. Don't, you know, panic right away. Be patient and just kind of see how things unfold.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like I think with the system, it's whenever we look at how we lined up at the weekend with Rashford up top and with Garnacho off the left, again, all of those things are subject to change, and I think a lot of those things there can be changes there that'll really let Bruno come into his own. I mean, like you said, if we look at the average positions, Bruno he was not playing as a kind of right-sided 10. He wasn't playing as a winger. He was playing as his normal kind of central 10 position. And I think the way that we lined up, we had kind of Casemiro sitting back a little bit, Eriksen going forward. That kind of midfield pairing of Casemiro and Eriksen, I just don't see how that's going to work with the system. I think Ugarte and Menu or some kind of combination closer to that's going to be something that is probably going to be the end goal. And I think that's going to let Bruno push further, work with the likes of Højlund up top, and if kind of Rashford drops back into that position that Garnacho held, I think there's just a lot more freedom up there for the front three. So yeah, I think good things to come.
Yeah, exciting times for sure. All right, shall we just jump straight into the pod then?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Ay, 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 ay. Fantasy with the Banta Boys.
All right, so starting with the data dump, we're looking back at game week 12. So we're going to start with key passes as always. So the highest number of key passes in game week 12 was 8 by Vardiol, then 6 by Odegaard, and 5 by Robertson. Thoughts, Naru?
Yeah, an interesting 3. Vardiol, he's been so boom or bust. I mean, on draft day, I was never really keen on Gvardiol. I mean, we were seeing him going kind of 3rd, 4th round, and I just couldn't get my head around this idea of a City defender going in 3rd and 4th round.
Yeah.
I suppose games like this is why why people were drafting him that high. I don't own him anywhere. But I mean, whenever he plays off that kind of left wing position, I mean, the ghosts are there.
Yeah.
And you know, if we kind of look at that with the performances from City as well. I mean, it really has been a tough couple of weeks for them, and for some of these assets to be putting up these kinds of numbers. I mean, it's, you know, something's clearly still working in the background.
Yeah. It's crazy that 8 key passes, no assists. Like, and you look at the scoreline as well, like 0-4 to Spurs. Like, no one would have seen that coming. Like, I expected a tough game just because, like, listen, City are hurting without their main man, Rodri. There's no protection. They've got a bunch of injuries. They've pretty much, like, lost, like, half their spine, right?
Yep.
Without the likes of KDB as well. Foden having a terrible start to the season. I don't know if it's drama or it's, like, injury related or whatever, but yeah, it's absolutely mental, man. And listen, it was pretty much a matter of, like, you don't want to take your chances? Fine, we will. And Spurs were just clinical.
Yeah, they were. It was it was a bloodbath. Yeah. I mean, Ruben Dias missing out as well. Yeah. It's that whole spine of that Ruben Dias, Rodri, KDB. I mean, it's a different setup. And yeah, Spurs were just a better team in the day.
Yeah, Odegaard back in the lineup as well. Arsenal are back to their best, it seems.
Back with a bang, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he's he was one of the assets who there was talk of people trying to trade him out whenever he picked up that injury, and I think for those managers who've either bought low or who have held, they've been rewarded. I mean, what, back 2 games and 2 assists, two very nice scores. So yeah, I mean, look, Arsenal, they're looking on fire. Another very good game tonight in Europe. So I mean, all I can say is I'm glad to have a piece of Odegaard.
Yeah, they would have won 5-1 away to Sporting, the same team that smashed Man City as
Yep.
well. I think Odegaard, he only played 78 minutes, a couple of key passes. He won the penalty for Saka as well.
Yep.
So listen, he's still in and around the points. And I think, yeah, listen, you need to somehow get a piece of an Arsenal asset or something like that, because yeah, they need to go on an absolute charge right now if they're to have any shot at the title. So final name here, Robertson, 5 key passes. I was talking about stashing Simicast on the waiver pod. For anyone that would have caught it, or if you haven't, go find it on our Patreon. If you can't find it there, DM us on X or Discord or whatever, and we'll sort you out. But yeah, I thought, you know what, maybe I might get a cheeky start over the next couple of game weeks. But with the injury, you're guessing like Robertson is absolutely nailed now. And I feel like a few weeks ago, you would have probably been able to get him on a low.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's been a buy low candidate for a long time, and I think from what I've been kind of hearing from owners in different leads and at different discords, it's very much kind of been a case of almost waiting for a return like this to now trade out. I guess with Simicast being potentially injured, is it now a case where you're going to want to trade out, or is it a case now where you want to hold and have that lockdown left back position and having a piece of that Liverpool defence? I mean, it's the best defence in the league. So I mean, for me, I've got him in one league. I'm banking on this resurgence. I mean, 5 key passes, 10.5 points for the game, but he did concede 2. So yeah, I think it's certainly better than what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. I'll be holding.
Yeah, I think. Listen, if you can't stash Simi now, I'd almost be tempted to stash Joe Gomez as well. Like, just as soon as the waiver's clear, you don't get your target that you want, stash Joe Gomez. He's not in the lineup, drop him. Right?
Yeah, easy drop.
Yeah. Cool. So next category is shots and how many were on target. So the highest number of shots in Game Week 12 was 7 by 2 of the beasts of the Prem, Haaland and Salah. Haaland had 2 on target. Salah had 4 of his 7 on target. Then 6 shots attempted by Isak, 0 on target. And then Saka had 2 of his 6 on target. Thoughts, Naru?
Yeah, Erling doing Erling things and Mo doing Mo things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you've just almost come to expect it at this point. With Erling, yeah, I mean, only 2 on targets.
Yeah, it's crazy how he didn't score though. Like, I watched the highlights. He hit the crossbar, save onto the post. Like, middle of the box opportunities, skying them or straight to the keeper. Like, it's weird times at City.
It is, yeah. And I've never claimed to be Haaland's biggest fan, both as a fantasy manager and as a football fan in general. But yeah, I mean, you as an owner, it's got to be frustrating. I mean, the one thing I suppose is slightly different is he's kind of ghosting at this point. I mean,
yeah.
Which isn't characteristically Haaland like, but I mean, whenever you're putting up these number of shots and these volume of shots, you'd like to think that some of them are on target, and being one of the best finishers in the world, I mean, the goals should be coming.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of great finishers, Salah, man, unlucky to not get the hat-trick against Southampton, actually.
Yeah, really unlucky. Yeah, I mean, I thought, from a game that was quite a volatile game, I think he stood out as he always does for all the right reasons. I mean, he did go quiet for the first kind of part of the game, but I mean, quality's quality, and he's inevitable at this point.
Yeah. Isak, the Monday night fixture, a lot of people, I think, had Newcastle to absolutely wipe the floor with West Ham, hopefully cueing a Lopetegui firing, and we got exactly the opposite.
Yeah, strange game. Very strange game. Yeah, Newcastle just looked muted the whole way through. I think the front line. I mean, the front three just kind of looked all over the place. We started with kind of Joe Linton on the left, Gordon on the right. There was a halftime sub.
Your
where
boy.
my boy Harvey, came on with a magical ghosting performance as only he can.
Yeah.
But he came in, pushed Joe Linton back into the midfield, and I just think it was one of those games where they just never really got a grip on the game, and they just kind of looked muted the whole way through. West Ham, they looked okay. Yeah, but just Isak, 6 shots, none of them on target. I mean, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's a bit of game state thing as well, because I remember Isak was the first player, I think, to have the ball in the back of the net, but he was offside for that chance. You know, you think that goes in, and you know, maybe West Ham kind of lose their heads and it's an absolute bloodbath. But yeah, Antonio, you know, bull in a china shop, ran the channels, good hold up play. I mean, Newcastle missing Burn, maybe it was a big factor as well, you know, given the fact that the goal that they conceded was from a set piece. Souček, you're thinking maybe tall man versus tall man kind of eliminates that situation. But yeah, it's crazy, man. To have nothing on target is absolutely baffling. And then we go to Saka. So I actually went for this game in person. The Emirates, absolutely magnificent stadium. Irrelevant of where you sit in that stadium, I think you have a fantastic view just of how high up, like the seats all the way at the back are. But yeah, I mean, Saka just looked amazing. And listen, again, we're going to touch on Odegaard, but yeah, he was kind of the glue that put everything back together for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a strong argument to be made for Saka to be number one for at the end of the season. He just delivers. He's just Mr. Consistent, and he just passes the eye test every time.
Yeah, your first pick in the Super League, right? Oh no, not the Super League, in the Bash League. Yeah. We have so many leagues, man. I keep mixing everything up. All right, lovely. So next category is accurate crosses into the box. So highest number was 5 by McNeil and then 4 by Livramento. Thoughts, Naru?
An interesting pairing. I mean, a familiar face for accurate crosses with McNeil for sure. Less so this season that he's taken up this kind of new position in the middle and centrally. So it's kind of interesting to see that he's still racking up these kind of accurate cross numbers, playing in behind DCL. I mean, he's clearly got that kind of right to roam. He's playing quite flexibly in the middle, so he's still clearly putting in those numbers. But yeah, I mean, what an asset McNeil has been up to now.
Does he not get enough respect? I feel like he's falling into like that Gross category where every season, you know, up until like Gross had left or whatever, Pascal, you know, every season would keep delivering points. But when it came to draft day, for some reason, these guys would fall past like the 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we got to start putting some respect on these names. Like he's again Mr. Consistent. I mean, I've got him in one league.
Same.
I think I got him in late second, and again, just Mr. Consistent. I'm very happy to own a piece of McNeil.
Yeah, completely agree. And yeah, Livramento, it's a bit of an odd one, but I feel like that might have also been a game state thing where they were kind of just chasing the result at that point, right? They brought on the likes of Callum Wilson and just started putting crosses into the box and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see Livra's minutes as well, because I think Trips came on as a late sub in that fixture.
Yep.
So yeah, I know Howe is like a big, like really big into like consistency in terms of like lineups and systems and stuff like that. Personnel, like, so if Trippier gets back in, who's to say like Liver doesn't lose his spot, or you know Hall doesn't lose it, Liver goes over to the left. But yeah, we'll see as things unfold over the next few weeks. So then finally, the extra categories. So just the outliers for these. Tackles 1, high of 6 by Paqueta. Dispossessions, a high of 5 by Tavernier. Interceptions, a high of 5 by Shea. Clearances, a high of 11 by Wout Faes. Successful dribbles, there was a high of 4 by 4 players: Bowen, Felix, Kulusevski, and Njai. Aerials, there was a high of 6 by Collins. And block shots, there was a high of 4 by 2 players: Hardwood Bellis and Murillo. Thoughts, Nauru?
Yeah, familiar names. Familiar names for these types of categories. I mean, Paqueta, 6 tackles 1 is, I think, goes back to to the game state thing.
Yeah.
Not a name not a name that we would expect to see there for tackles.
Yeah.
Nathan Collins, 6 aerials. I mean, he's just Nathan Collins is just
so consistent.
Mr. Consistent again. Yeah.
Other than that, like, Pakita got man of the match, so it kind of makes sense. Like, he was hustling, etc. For some reason, I chuckle when I saw Woutface's 11 clearances, because I think back to the first goal that they conceded and how many times he actually tried to clear the ball and he absolutely couldn't. So it's just like, where did these clearances come from? Shout out to our boy Njai, finally making the data dump. He's been a little bit of a consistent hero as well for a lot of managers out there that actually believed in him. But yeah, other than that, like you said, a lot of standard faces out here. So I think what we'll do now is move on to our next segment, which is the league updates. All right, Naru, you can kick things off, being our guest. So why don't you catch us up in a couple of leagues that you're in?
Happy to. Always happy to on a week of a week of 4 wins and 0 losses. So yeah, we'll take that. Successful week. DPL won with a score of 105-74. An interesting performance from the DPL team. I really only had Wan-Bissaka and Flecken as standouts, 2 big scores from my back line. The rest were all just kind of made up of steady Eddie. So it was just kind of one of those quite nice performances to see, where you're not relying on kind of one big score and your team's just putting in a shift across the board. So, but yeah, I mean, Wan-Bissaka, I've held the faith up to now. He's been kind of quietly ghosting away, and then he goes and gets a pretty good ghost performance, a goal, and a clean sheet. So, I mean, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, everyone.
Yeah, like, you know what? As soon as I saw Wan-Bissaka score, the first thing that came to mind was the conversation that I had with Dutch Cowboy during the international break when he brought up that weird stat about apparently West Ham have been running a lot of their play through Wan-Bissaka, and I was like, holy shit, was he onto something? And like, even weeks before our chat, like, we've seen the ghost points from Wan-Bissaka. Like, West Ham were conceding a shit ton, yet he was still putting up positive points on the board, right? So yeah, man, kudos to you for keeping the faith, because I know a lot of managers would have like dropped him. Didn't Tash like rage drop him or something like after the first few minutes of this match? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, absolutely insane. So what regrets do you have with your DPL team?
Senesi.
Yeah.
One Senesi.
Yeah.
I mean, such a...
early subs.
Yeah, 2 early subs. I just have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Senesi this season. It feels like every single week that I bench him because of his fixture, he just goes off, and in a reasonably safe fixture you'd like to play him, the last 2 weeks he just hasn't done much. So yeah, I think it's verging on potentially drop territory for Senesi, depending on what you can get. But yeah, not a great show.
Yeah, and any concerns for the coming game week?
My forward one was benched, Chris Wood.
International break is what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way from New Zealand, so yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's almost like the stereotypical international break situation that we see, where they've travelled a long time, they come back, they make it to the bench, and they maybe get a little bit of a run out. I don't think he came on at all actually this week.
He came on.
Oh, he came on. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, stereotypical international break cameo there to keep the sharpness. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned. Robbo, my kind of 3rd round pick in DPL, who's been kind of breaking my heart. I guess concerns is that this resurgence is a mystery and doesn't continue. I'm hoping that it does. We'll see.
Like fool's gold or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I mean, with the Simicast injury, I'd be very tempted to hold on to him, or take the next game with another massive score. I obviously it's against City, but
Yeah.
City have basically derailed everything. Like they gave up a 3-0 lead in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Like it's insane, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool absolutely batter City. And if that's the case, then maybe you can try and trade high, get the likes of like a Porro in instead, kind of package up Robbo to get another attacking defender. Listen, Spurs are rarely gonna win 4-0, right? With him scoring as well, but he ghosts really fucking well.
Yep.
And is on set pieces whenever Madison gets rotated, etc. So he always has a route to points in that sense. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Wood. And I saw in your notes as well about Bruno being back. Is this Bruno Guimaraes?
Bruno Fernandes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so again, a frustrating kind of first round pick. We've seen some light, and I guess I'm certainly not going to be getting rid of Bruno. It would take a lot. I mean, I'm a United fan. He's the only stock that I have across all my leagues, so I mean, he's going nowhere. I'm just keeping my fingers, toes, assorted appendages crossed that this keeps going. Yeah.
So what position are you in this league?
This is an interesting league. I think so. I'm sixth in the league, and I think from second place all the way down to eighth, I think everyone is on 21 points. So it's a ridiculously tight league.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Is this the right? Wait, is this the league that Ryan and Robbie are in?
Yes.
Absolute carnage.
It's carnage.
Great. Yeah, I feel like every other week Ryan's like, yeah, I fucking hate DPL. Oh, I won in DPL. I fucking hate DPL. I mean, listen, he already won the whole damn thing, right? So I told him, listen, he's just there for the numbers. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride.
So obviously, like DPL waivers wouldn't have cleared, given we're recording on a Tuesday evening. So why don't you catch us up in your home league?
Yeah, home league waivers cleared this morning, and yeah, I've gone for a triple up of kind of high upside punts. My home league, I'm kind of blessed with a pretty strong squad, if I'm being honest.
Humble brag.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Are you first in that league?
Yeah, actually I'm not.
What?
I know. Yeah, I've had this conversation with a few people. Whenever you look at my scroll, whenever you look at the roster I have, and the fact that I'm not first, it's yeah. It hurts. It hurts, but we're getting there. We've had a few unlucky run-ins with the league average and things, but it's a long season.
Yeah. Long way to go.
Long way to go. So yeah, I've got a bit of room to play with. So I've actually gone for Mason Mount, Kieran Trippier, and Jack Grealish. Which I think there are three players with kind of reasonably similar profiles, slightly different. I think they're all players that haven't seen much game time recently, but they're all players who we have seen in the past have got ridiculously high upsides in the right situations. I suppose Mason Mount, there's been a lot of talk with Ruben Amorim and getting Mount built into this system some way. Is it going to happen? I don't know. And how is it going to look? I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we take advantage of the new manager bounce, and we take advantage of the volatility that might be the squad. If he gets into that position and he gets that eye for goal that he had once upon a time, I mean, he's got a bunch of upside there. Same with Trippier and Grealish, if they can get their way back into the team, get starting again, get scoring again. Yeah, I mean, it's pure upside.
Yeah, I'm still iffy on Mount. I'm hoping to not let my Chelsea bias get in the way at all. It's just with the injuries and how much he's kind of struggled to settle. Like I almost want to see him get a run out in Europe. Just to see how he is doing, like physically, etc., and then maybe gauge based on that. Like, I'm not gonna look at the numbers of any random fucking cup competition and let that decide my fantasy picks, right? But I mean, eye test wise as well, it's just like how he's kind of fitting into the system, etc. And I do like the other two picks, upset with trips, and yeah, I feel like City need to kind of do something, change some stuff around. So it wouldn't surprise me if Grealish kind of comes back into the team as well. One thing I wanted to pick out though about your regret about Connor Bradley, I own him in one of my leagues as well. Are you just gonna hold the faith?
Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, it's again, it's very. I think it's very much roster dependent. I mean, we know what he can do from last season. I suppose it's one of those ones where we just haven't seen the Klopp style fullbacks that we had last season. With Slot, I mean Trent is Trent. He's I mean he's been solid. But even with Robbo, we just haven't seen that same kind of style of wing back and fullback that we seen with Klopp. So I'm not sure if this is a kind of change in the system. It's a small sample size, and I think we know what he can do. So again, roster dependent. If you can afford to hold, it is the last fixture, and it's not the best fixture. But yeah, I mean, if you can afford to hold, it's the upsides there.
So before we move on to my updates, you talk about like the system with Liverpool and their fullbacks not playing the way we were spoiled under Klopp. Like Trent, we're talking about a player that would have gone first round,
Yep.
maybe start a second round this season as well. If you were drafting right now, which round would you be taking Trent? Or how late would you be waiting?
I think there's been some chat recently about his future in the same kind of conversations as Salah. I'm not sure that's going to have a massive effect on this season. So yeah, I mean, if he, depending on where I'm drafting, I'd struggle not to take him in the second round.
Still?
Yep.
Yeah, I probably should still say the same given my affection for him, and if my listeners know me, yeah, T-Baby. Yeah, maybe my that would be an emotional pick for me.
It's an interesting one because it's not the same profile that we had last season, but also just I suppose this Liverpool defense just looks so much more solid, and the numbers back that up as well. So what we might have lost in some of that creativity and kind of advanced positioning, we're going to gain in some of that defensive kind of stability as well. So I think he's a really fun asset to own, which is a big part of it for me as well. So yeah, I mean, I'd struggle to pass him up.
Yeah, fair point. All right, so my updates. We start with the only league I really care about these days, which is the IGL League. So I won 177-37, bit of a battering. I think I had the highest score in all of the IGL this game week as well. So now I'm first in my table, clear by 9 points, absolutely coasting, which kind of worries me slightly as well because, things will at one point turn bad, as it does for any football team out there. But the goods, so everyone except Fofana, Casemiro, and Strand Larson got double digits in my team. My regret was not playing Ismaila Sarr. So it's funny. Like I was talking to, I can't remember who it was, but I was like, they were asking me like, oh, should they play Sarr? And I was like, yeah, Aston Villa high line. Like he could easily like capitalize. And I didn't even do it on my own team. And I think I lost my dynasty matchup against Ryan because of it. He even benched Sar for us in Bash. I need to talk to him about like sabotaging our Bash team every single fucking time. In terms of concerns, so yeah, we touched on like the whole United system changing and just like seeing Casemiro get pulled off early and like looking at his impact in the game and stuff like that. I thought, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna get trade value out of him, so I'm just gonna play with the waiver pool. So I dropped him and Fofana. Like the thing with Fofana as well, like it was a little concerning to see Chelsea with the back three formation, and like I don't know if that's gonna be a thing that Maresca maybe just tries here and there, because I do think that's what affected Fofana's ghost point potential this game week. And yeah, so I don't know. It just feels like defense is always one of the easiest positions to kind of stream for this season, especially with the points, like the scoring system change, etc. So yeah, I dropped them and I got in Dara Shea and Rodrigo Gomes. So Dara has been ghosting again now that he's not playing that fucking weird ass right back position or whatever. He's back into the center of defense, and I kind of like his fixture, especially like Ipswich feels like they're on a bit of form, with the win against Spurs, the draw against United. Maybe they get another result against Forest, who are in a patch of very difficult fixtures. And Rodrigo Gomes. So this one was like purely like one of the inside tracks shoutouts, like the gem picks or whatever, right? And I didn't even realize the fucked up formation that Wolves had played, right? They had like Lemina in
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
I think they had possibly another midfielder in defense as well, with Totti in the center. So I saw Rodrigo Gomes got the game, played nearly 90 minutes, ghosted a bit, and I was just like, huh, why not? Like, because I mean, this is the roster that I showed you guys on the Discord, and you guys were like, "Are you showing off?" Like, so
Yeah.
it's one of those rosters where I can just afford to stash like random fucking names. Like, I could go stash Callum Wilson in this league, right, and not give a shit. So, yeah. So those are the moves, and now on to the reality of my fantasy career. DPL, another loss, crushing loss, 67 to 125. The only goods were Munoz, Iwobi, and Njai. The regret was benching Mikolenko, his nearly 20-point haul. Roster concerns, man. I've got so many concerns. So Fofana is one of them. I mean, I already dropped him in one league, so I think I might just do the same in this one as well. Garnacho, should I be worried? He dropped an absolute goose egg in a sense this game week. But I mean, eye test wise, listen, again, the Fantrax points weren't there, but you look at the game, he got into good positions. He was getting shots off, right? It's just one of those situations where, you know, he gets them right the other day and we're looking at like maybe a 20-point haul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's with Garnacho, it's always been the case that kind of left side of the pitch just makes him look like a considerably better player. So I think it's really, yeah, I think I wouldn't necessarily be put off about the performance itself. I think looking forward, if he can nail down that position, that's another question. I think one thing about kind of United assets in general is that the fixtures turn pretty dramatically. We're going into a pretty tough run. So I guess with Garnacho and with all United assets really, that has to be taken into account. If I'm honest, do I see Garnacho in our best 11? I'm not sure.
Wow, that's
sure.
A little worrying.
That's just personally.
No, that's very fair. Because there's I think Genie's in this league, and he's basically been trying to create his United stack, and has been sending me offers endlessly. If you're ever in a league with Genie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, you're waking up to a trade offer every fucking day, possibly. And he's really been trying to get Garnacho off of me. So maybe it's something to kind of consider. The next name I have on my concern list is Curtis fucking Jones. So Ryan and I bitch about him and Harvey Elliott quite a lot in terms of how trolling they can be. And Curtis Jones' last 5 scores, 1.5 to 8.25, 1.25, and 30. You can obviously guess which point I didn't have him. And the reason I had him for this fixture as well is because I wanted the haul that Soboslai got instead.
Yep.
Did you have Sobo in a league? I think did you? I know Ryan did. I think Ryan wavered him in I don't know if it was IGL or DPL or something like that. Yeah.
I managed to so this was kind of one of my gloat moments. I'm gonna say for this week. I'm gonna gloat. I picked up Soboslai in the Super League.
Yeah.
I then made the decision to drop him for Tall Paul.
Fair.
Which was an emotional and probably not exceptionally logical decision. I will say, in my defense, the shenanigans that was going on with my opponent this week did drive me to the emotional pick.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did have Soboslai this week, and I made the decision to waiver him. But yeah, I dropped him.
Yeah, I mean, Sobo's not been like doing anything fantastic all season as well, right? I think this has also been a bit of a fixture play situation, which kind of contributed to his point ceiling. But yeah, listen, I think I'm just gonna fucking drop Jones at this point. Like, I can't deal with these unpredictable scores. Like, I'd rather have a defender that's getting me like 7 to 8 consistently. yeah, it's just painful. And DD also on my list. He had a terrible score. Potentially could have been sent off for his tackle on Palmer. I don't know. Did you see that? The one
No.
from behind on the Achilles. Yeah, it wasn't good. But I mean, I don't know what to do with him now that Steve Cooper has been fired as well.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. I think it'll obviously depend who we get in. I think it's again my approach to new managers. I always kind of take the same approach where it's try and take advantage where you can with new manager bounce and take advantage of the volatility. I think where you have assets that could benefit, you hold, and see how it pans out, because it worst case scenario is he doesn't make it back into the team, or he does but he's in a system that doesn't, it's not conducive to points, and he's an easy drop. So yeah, I'd be holding.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just do the same with Mavididi as well.
For sure.
Final concern I want to bring up is Raul Jimenez. Didn't score too well this game week. I'm wondering whether to just kind of trade him out before it gets worse. Like, I'm almost concerned that the next game we see Muniz starting.
Yeah, I suppose we're getting to that time of year. We are going to see Muniz, and I suppose the position that he's in is that it's his spot to lose. And if we continue to see performances where he's not given them the reason to keep him there, and Muniz does, then we're in a position where we might be looking at him reverting back to the start of the season where Muniz is starting. So, I think if this bad form continues and Muniz gets his chance and makes a mark, yeah, his days could be numbered.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No waivers or whatever because this is DPL. So I think that's it for this segment. So now what we'll do is take our halftime pint and we will be back after the break with some questions. So we'll see you in a bit. And we are back. What beer are you drinking, by the way?
Tonight we have a Vocation Life and Death IPA.
Yes.
Tash for the recommendation. I've gone through a number of them over the last couple of weeks, so yeah, I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, I love that people post cans and Tash posts kegs. It's quite the flex, honestly.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so we've got a bunch of questions. So let's how do you want to do this? So typically with Ryan, I just do it like you ask one, I ask one. Sure. We'll just take turns. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I'll kick things off from Purple Devil. How can I encourage my league to trade more? Even clear wins for the other party gets rejected.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I suppose I'm in a league that's quite trade averse. So it's something that I'm used to. It is one of my favorite topics to talk about, though, is trading. I love trading, and I think it's a part of the game that I enjoy. I suppose my kind of advice for trading, it's always quite similar. I think the big thing is dialogue. What I always say is trades never get done by just spamming offers between two managers. It just doesn't work. So I think if there's a trade that you're wanting to get across the line, or there's maybe a trade that's been kind of sent to you, open up dialogue with the other manager. Explain why you think it's a good deal. It has to be mutually benefiting. That's the key. A manager is not going to do a deal where they don't feel that it benefits them. That's just the way it is. So yeah, you have to open up dialogue. You have to explain your position and explain how you think it benefits the other manager, how you think the trade benefits you. Be honest. No one's going to accept a trade where they don't think it's going to benefit them in any way. Managers value players differently as well. Clear wins for the other party. I mean, that's we all have our different valuations in players. There are some players that I don't particularly want anything to do with. There are some players that I will overvalue. So what seems like a clear win for you might not be for the other party.
Yeah. Having a conversation is a great point. And, is one thing if I would like to change about our community is I feel like there's this culture where if you get a shocking trade, people just like to send an equally shocking trade back or something outrageous. And I get it in that sense, but it's not very constructive moving forward. And you're just gonna create this impression or this relationship between some random person off the internet that you're gonna be sharing a chat room or a league with for 8 to 9 months. And it's like, what's the point? Like, just have ask them. Like when people send me bad trades, now I ask them, hey man, thanks for the offer, but can you please just explain to me why do you think this is fair? And sure, we might not have a trade by the end of it, but generally I've just had a really good conversation with someone. I've made a new friend, made another connection with our fantastic community. And it's just like, what's the point in like just adding more shit that's already there? It's not constructive behavior. And I just think we it's like you said, have a conversation.
Yep.
It's not that hard. All right, next question from one of our mods. You want to take this one?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So next question comes from Andrew. Does Lightning McQueen need car, home, or life insurance?
This feels like your sort of question, like you would ask something like this. Just want to say, like, you have provided some of the best and most ridiculous questions ever.
It's a gift.
It truly is. It honestly is. What does he need? I think he needs life insurance. He can't get car insurance. He's already a car. So if he gets life, it counts as both, surely, right?
Has to. Yeah. Yeah. And true fans know that his home is technically Mac. So I guess, is that truck insurance if we're talking about home?
There you go. Yeah. So maybe a different insurance altogether that you haven't thought of, Andrew.
Yeah. We thought we covered all bases there, but
All right. Our next question is from Dingus Amingus. Which pod title pun are you proudest of?
I think you're going to have to take this one. The credit goes to you. I don't know how you do it. It's just yeah. It's like as much as I love getting the notification that the new pod's out, the title is it's up there. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, I'm trying not to like brag or like big up myself, but yeah, listen, we have some absolute bangers sometimes, man. And I would like to say like there's some convoluted process that we have, or some flowchart that we use. No, literally sometimes it's googling puns that maybe sometimes already exist, or just taking a few minutes thinking about what did we talk about. Okay, I want to talk about this player, and then just like sitting down by myself and just saying their name a few times and be like, what words rhyme like that? Like that's how we came up with the last title, the Buonanotte by Nature, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what does Facundo rhyme with? Absolutely fucking nothing. Like I have no idea where to go with this. But in terms of favorite ones, oh my god, I don't even know. Like, do I have like? I think I have a list of them somewhere. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this up. Do you have any that stand out for you while I pull up a list?
The one that sticks out for me is from not too long ago. The Lion, the Witch, and the Word Price.
Yeah, I did enjoy that one as well.
I like that one.
Yeah. Let me see from the last few that we've had. Oh, Matt sells seashells.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Me, myself, and Jai.
Nice.
Right. Brokeback Mountain.
Very appropriate. Very appropriate for today.
And then I think everything before that has kind of been like inside track stuff and whatnot. But yeah, Batman, yeah. I'm always worried. Like I've actually started a spreadsheet to keep track of every single title because I don't want to come into a scenario where I actually duplicate the pod title. Yeah. And it's very possible, right? It's very easy for it to happen, but yeah, man, long wait continue. Enjoying it so far. All right, so our next question is from Real Caholic. So you're going to have to help me out with this one because it took a little research to get this one done.
It did, yeah. So our next question comes from Real Caholics, and
so he's actually our Newcastle Inside Tracks rep.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the question is simply who wins, and there's a link to a clip from, I believe, the Cristiano Ronaldo YouTube channel, who had Mr. Beast on as a guest. The clip had a the video had a clip in it where it was basically asking it was Ronaldo asking Mr. Beast if he thinks that he's going to beat him. Now, from from what I was able to discern from the interview, the conversation was around subscribers and the rate at which Ronaldo's YouTube channel is gaining subscribers, and he's on course to beat Mr. Beast, I think. So, what do you think? Who's going to win? Is Ronaldo going to overtake Mr. Beast's subscriber count?
I mean, he's kind of he's not that close, but he could potentially score 1,000 career goals, right? I think he's on course for it. He's like 917 or some low end 900 number, but I mean, maybe that kind of helps with, and also social media and all that sort of stuff. But for some reason, while you were explaining the question, in my gut, I was just like, nah, man, there's a lot of fucking stupid people out there in the world that just love watching brainless shit that Mr. Beast kind of puts out, just like mind-numbing stuff sometimes. And I don't know, it might be a struggle for Ronnie. It's kind of disappointing that Ronnie's out there chatting with folks like Mr. Beast. How hard has his career dropped off, man?
I mean, the connections that he must have to end up with Mr. Beast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Ronaldo is he's such a recognizable figure. I mean, even people who've got no idea about football, they've got no interest in football, they generally know who Ronaldo is. So I mean, the reach has to be there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe Ronnie takes it. Hopefully he does.
Hopefully.
It would give me a bit more faith in the world, I think. Just a bit more. Okay, so our next question comes from O'Reilly Super Sub. So it's basically Matt O'Reilly's biggest fan in the world, Prash. His question is, when you take into account ghost points, would you consider shot on target or key passes as ghost points as part of goals and assists that players get? Wouldn't it be by default unless it's a penalty? So, what, for example, he gives us, he says that Watkins scores 22 with 2 goals. Would you have his ghost points as 4 or as 0?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, whenever I'm looking at ghosts, I include the shots on targets and the key passes that are included in returns. I suppose, yeah, I it's an interesting conversation, for sure. I think whenever you look at what ghost points are, I suppose we all kind of have different definitions of it. I suppose it's not set in stone. For me, it's any point scored outside of a return, whether that's a goal, assist, or a clean sheet. So, I think for me, when there is a goal, there has been a shot on target. It's not as if that just because the balls went into the back of the net, it doesn't mean that shot on target didn't take place. So it's still there, and if the keeper saves it, it's still a shot on target. So for me, shots on target and key passes, they're included as ghost points.
Yeah, so like I'm just wondering with this question, if you take the, I guess, the path less traveled, which is not considering the shots on target as ghost points, does that make great players shit and shit players look better? Potentially, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Which is probably a terrible way to kind of look at it, because then you're just gonna fuck yourself up every fucking season. Like, oh yeah, it's a interesting conversation. But yeah, maybe don't have it on our Discord ever again. So next question.
Next question comes from Draft and Rams. Is it better to be the smartest person in the room or the dumbest?
For me, it was a quick answer. When I saw this is the dumbest. Like,
right, yeah.
I think if you listen to a lot of like successful people out there, that's one thing that I've heard a lot of people say as well, is like, you always want to be the dumbest person in the room, because you're going to be able to learn as much as possible, grow as much as possible. I mean, sure, it might not feel great, but it's not feeling great in the moment, right? You don't know the impact that it's going to have later down the road.
For sure. Yeah, it depends on the situation as well. You know, if it depends on the environment. Are you in a position where you're in a position where you're going to be teaching people stuff, in which case it's probably a good idea to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, yeah, dumbest person in the room for sure. I mean, you surround yourself with people that you want to learn from.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next question is from Andrew, and it's lined up perfectly because this is a question specifically for you.
Of course.
So he wants to know, why does refrigerator not have a D in it when the word fridge does?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, this is quite worrying, I think. I think we've discovered a glitch in the matrix here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose any kind of etymology nerds out there will know that when we shorten words, particularly for slang, the spelling will change. There's examples of that. If I was to call someone a ledge, short for legend, a D appears. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why the word fridge has a D in it. But yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a pretty common thing to shorten words and to add extra letters in there. I don't think it's doing any harm. I think that D looks pretty good in there.
Yeah. I mean, my answer was going to be because English is a fucked up language, but yeah.
Well, that's kind of a roundabout way to say what I was saying.
All right, next question.
All right. Our next question comes from Blimey O'Piley. And we've got a quiz.
Lovely.
Got a quiz.
So you're going to have to guide us through this one, right? Have you got the questions and stuff?
I do. So we've got one question. There are 12 answers to this question. So what we've got here is the question is as follows. In 12 game weeks, there have been 12 players who have been the top scorer in that game week. One player has done it twice, but one game week was shared by two players. We have to name them. So what we have to do is we have to guess the top scorers for each of the 12 game weeks that we've had so far, and see if we can fill up all 12 weeks.
So is he going to tell us if we're correct after?
I've got an answer key, so I'm going to put the guess in, and it's going to tell me whether it's right and which game week it's for. It's very sophisticated.
Shit. Wow,
very
sophisticated. He's gone all out for this, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to you, Draft. I mean, another one of our fantastic mods.
Absolutely.
Fucking hell. Love you guys. Okay, I mean, all right, let's work. We're working on this together, right?
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I mean, Haaland has to be up there, right? He had a few hat tricks this season.
He did. He started off very strong. Okay, so yeah, Haaland has to be in there. So Haaland. Okay, yeah. So Haaland, game week 3 versus West Ham, scored a total of 38.5.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll let you take the next swing.
Well, I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit here and go with Palmer with, I think, the highest score of the season so far. What was it? 50? It was in the 50s.
Yeah, 4 goals kind of does that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Palmer, game week 6. Yeah, with a score of 56.5.
All right. I think I don't know if this is a bit cheating. It's just because I prepare and I look at the data all the time. Yeah. But I remember when I was doing the data dump and looking at all the scores, I'm pretty sure Mateus Cunha would have gotten the top score in this game week.
You are correct. Cunha, game week 12 against Fulham, 33.25.
Yeah. Man, we're going to have a question that comes later on, but I'm definitely going to bring him up again later on in the pod. Who do you have next?
I'm Madueke.
I was thinking him, Yeah.
I mean, he had that hat trick. Although I'm thinking that was early in the season.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? So game week 3 is already taken with Haaland. So let's see. Madueke. Okay. Game week 2.
Okay.
Madueke scored 40 points versus Wolves.
Yeah. After he chatted shit and then scored a hat trick.
Yep.
There's a player that showed up twice, right? Is it potentially would both Haalands reveal, or would we have to put in Haaland again?
So both Haalands will reveal. So Haaland's only been the top point scorer once this season.
Okay, I'm gonna go Bruno Fernandes then with his goal and 2 assists.
All right. So Bruno has been the top point scorer once this season.
Yeah.
In game week 11.
Yeah.
Versus Leicester, 44.75.
There you go. Yeah. How many do we have left?
quite a lot. So, well, I'm gonna say Solanke, and the reason I know that Solanke scored particularly well, not last game week, but the game week before, is because I had him on my bench. So I'm gonna say, yeah, okay. So Solanke, game week 10, 32 points versus Villa.
Yeah. Was it a brace and an assist or something like that?
Brace and an assist from my bench.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Do we just throw Saka's name just because of how amazing he is and he's a top asset? Like,
we have to, don't we?
Right? I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Okay. We have our double man. Okay. So Saka has been the top point scorer twice this season. In game week 1, 32.25 points versus Wolves.
There you go.
And in game week 7, 39.5 versus Southampton.
Holy shit. Wow.
What player?
Yeah, what a player indeed, man.
Okay.
Do we know which game weeks we have left?
So we've got game week 4, 5, 8, 9, and 8.
4, 5, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, it's a joint. Sorry, it's a joint for 8. Yeah.
Mo Salah?
Salah's bound to be there. Oh, Salah has not been the highest point scorer so far this season.
Oh. Does your device implode when we get 3 X's? Like, what happens?
I hope not. Mbomo?
I was thinking that as well, yeah.
Mbomo?
Yeah,
he's been probably one of the value picks of the draft so far. Yeah, okay. So Mbomo, game week 9, 28.75 points versus Ipswich.
Very good.
There we go. So 4 game weeks left.
Didn't McNeil get a brace one game week? But I don't know if he would have been a top scorer.
That's a good call. Let's see. McNeil has not been the highest scoring player so far. Could Odegaard be there? He hasn't really set the world alight, has he?
Yeah, he's barely played this season as well, right?
Yeah, okay.
Any Brighton players, maybe?
Not that set any monster scores that I can think of.
Yeah. Thinking who else, boy? A goalkeeper?
Oh.
Like a Muric or something like that?
A Muric? Yeah, okay. Or Sanchez, who you got there was that one.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was one week where he got the penalty.
With the penalty save and the clean sheet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, not Sanchez. Not Muric. Okay.
Okay. So maybe no goalkeepers then.
I'm gonna say no. Yeah. We do have the option to give up, by the way, and it'll give us the answers.
I don't want to give up. I want to let listeners listen to us all fucking night guessing.
Yeah. All right.
Who else? Oh, Luis Diaz.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't heard any Liverpool players yet, have we? So Diaz, no, he's not been the highest scoring players. Okay.
Jeez. Okay, maybe we take like 3 more guesses.
Yeah.
And if we don't hit anything, then maybe we give up.
Okay. Didn't Jackson get a haul early on in the season? Who was it they played? Didn't he score a brace?
Which game was that though? I'm thinking.
I'm gonna try it.
Oh, you could try it. Yeah.
Jackson. All right. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Game week 5, 32.25 versus West Ham.
Love that. Oh yeah, he ran the show that day.
Yeah.
West Ham were fucking dreadful that day.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the end for Lopetegui. Yeah.
I keep thinking Chris Wood, but I don't think he went off. I just know he's been consistent.
Steady Eddie.
Right?
Steady Eddie. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if Vissa is up there as well.
Everything's gone through in Bomo, wasn't it? I mean, nothing for Wissa. Any
Bournemouth players like
Semenyo.
Did Semenyo have a? I don't think Semenyo had a smashing game.
Yeah, Tavernier. No.
Fatawu? No, that would have been that. Maybe was too early. That was like his first couple of game weeks, right? And Saka already took game week 1. I think.
Yeah. We're down to game week 4. And then, okay, so we've got 2 game weeks left. We've got game week 4, and we've got 2 players in game week 8 who were joint top.
Wow, 2-8. Can I look at the scores from that game week, or is that cheating?
I'm gonna say we're
We can make the rules,
we
right?
can make the rules. Yeah. We've got the sheet,
Okay.
but we can make it.
So I'm gonna go to game week 8. Spurs won 4-1, Villa won 3-1, Leicester won 3-2. Like I'm the Spurs players, like who would have gone off? Maybe like a Kulusevski or a Madison or something like that.
In game
or-
week 8 was Madison. Okay, not Madison.
Or Kulusevski.
Not Kulusevski. No, could have
Damn.
Son. We haven't said Son.
Yeah, maybe Son.
Although I don't remember any
Big scores from him.
Nah, not Son. Okay. Eze hasn't really set the world alight, has he? Up
No. Delict?
Delict.
Genuinely, because you guys won 3-0 against Southampton. He got the
He
goal,
got
got
and
the clean sheet.
That's a. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So.
Well done.
Delict. Okay, so Delict game week 4, high score of 29.5 versus Southampton. Yeah, that's right. He got the goal, got the clean sheet.
That's fucking crazy.
Wow.
Okay, so we've got like 2 players that would have tied. Holy shit, who is that, man?
Game week 8. So game week 8.
Maybe like it's a defender that scored. Michael Keane?
Keane? I mean, not Keane.
Damn, do we have to give up on the last one? We're finally there.
I'm trying to think if we've got Bruno Garnacho? Didn't he get
In game week 8, he got the goal, but I mean, maybe Garnacho.
He got a goal.
And maybe a bunch of ghost points or something like that.
Garnacho is okay. So joint top with 30 points versus Brentford. That was the game he ghosted out of his mind, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
All right. So someone joint with Garnacho in game week 8.
Joined with Garnacho
at 30 points.
This is a proper shot in the dark. Genuinely no freaking clue. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might have to give up.
Yeah, we might have to throw in the towel for the ultimate last one.
Okay, let's see.
Why don't you tell me the club and I'll take a guess.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
I don't like the look on your face.
So we've got a Liverpool asset.
Right. A Liverpool asset in that Oh, we didn't. Oh, fuck off! It's Curtis Jones, isn't
It's
it?
Curtis Jones.
Oh, motherfucker! I just saw it was like against Chelsea, and I was like, "Yeah, I remember that game." Yeah,
that was it.
We talked about that 30-point haul
Yeah, we
too.
did.
Oh,
what a good question!
What a great question, though. Oh, that was a lot of fun.
That was a wild card.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Cool. So this one is so it's questions for you from Single H from Haroon. So basically I'm gonna read you a scenario. You need to ask me questions, yes or no, with yes or no answers or whatever, and then I guess you need to figure out the answer or whatever.
Okay.
So the first one is: a black cat is walking through the middle of a road where there is a broken street lamp. A man is driving his vehicle with headlights that do not work. Despite all of this, he's able to avoid harming the cat. How can he do that?
What?
So the black cat is walking through the middle of the road where there's a broken street lamp, and a man is driving his vehicle with headlights that do not work. Despite all of this, he's able to avoid harming the cat.
Okay.
How is this possible?
and I have to ask you questions, yes or no questions,
Yeah.
to figure out. Okay, so is it daytime?
It's spot on. That's the
Okay.
answer.
Oh, is that it? Okay. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that.
Like we went from like the longest quiz ever to the quickest one ever. Lovely.
I was thinking like, okay, so he's driving down the middle of the road. So no, the cat was in the middle of the road. So is he like driving down the side of the road? But no, it's just daytime.
Yeah. I don't understand his other question because it just seems incomplete. Like he just writes Paul goes diving. How could he know he would be burnt to a crisp? Is that it? Yeah, I'm not sure. He said, if you don't like the second question, I can change it. We can just move on.
Yeah.
We'll save the riddles for the next pod.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you want to take the next one?
All right. So next one comes from Blimey O'Piley, Draft Pie again. Love this question. Who's the one player who you don't have in any leagues that you would choose to be magically transferred into all of your teams today?
Yeah, this was a easy one for me. Mateus Cunha.
What a guy.
Yeah. 5th overall, I think, in terms of scoring.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, he's been Mr. Consistent again. I mean, a massive haul again this week. What was it? 33, 32,
Yep.
33 points this week.
0.25. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the fixture run that they're in at the minute, it doesn't slow down for another couple of weeks still. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any Cunha. I don't have any pieces of Cunha anywhere myself, so I like that shout. I'm going to shout someone that we talked about earlier in the pod, Pedro Porro.
Yay! I love that shout as well. Yeah.
I love
11th overall at the moment.
Yeah, defenders just seem to be really fun assets to roster this year. I mean, Leif Davis, Munoz. I've got a backline of Kanate, Leif Davis, and Munoz in a league, and it's just been so fun to just rule them out every week and just let them goes to their heart's content.
Very nice. I've got a different back three that I think are also somewhat reliable. Milenkovic, Tarkowski, and Pinnock.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, this season there just seems to be quite a few defenders that just seem to be steady Eddie, reliable, fixture proof, and they're just really fun assets to own because you can just rule them out regardless.
Yeah. And if you've got Darashe on his good day as well, another reliable asset, you can just leave out there and don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great question, Pi. Okay, so another question from him. Can't let this pass without an attempt at a Nauru-style question. So it's fitting that you're answering it.
Yeah.
Would you rather be the best-looking person in the world with your current intelligence level or the cleverest person in the world with your current level of looks?
Okay. The best-looking person in the world with your current intelligence level, the cleverest person in the world with you. Okay, so, I mean, surely there is more that you can do being the cleverest person in this world than if you were the best-looking person in this world.
Yeah, but we live in the age of social media where now looks seem to be every fucking thing in terms of getting popularity. I don't know if that is going to make you happy or whatever in life. So I guess it matters what you want out of this scenario or the situation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I suppose if you're the cleverest person in the world, do you suddenly realize that looks don't actually count for shit?
Yeah.
And it's I think I'm going cleverest. I mean surely the impact that you can have and the stuff that you can do being the cleverest is just surely far outweighs what you can do if you're the best looking.
I mean, you could then maybe just create an alias altogether and have a fake persona, somebody that represents you as a very good-looking person as well, and you won't
best
even.
Of both worlds.
Yeah, so there's ways to kind of get around it. Potentially take over the world as well.
Oh yeah,
fix some situations here and there. I think I'll. You went with intelligence. I'm gonna go with good looks.
All right, okay. You can
just
be my alias then.
yeah. There you go. All right, and then why don't you take our final question? I think.
Final question, yeah, comes from the Matt O'Reilly fan account. I think this is Sharp. I think.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know. There's so many Matt O'Reilly personas in our Discord. I've lost track.
I mean, I'm guilty, but yeah.
Yeah, no regrets.
No regrets. Okay. Is happiness just chemicals flowing through your brain or something more?
Oh, I mean, coming from like a STEM background, I should give a scientific answer to this, no? But I think it's like these really minute seahorses that swim through your brain.
Do they have a name?
I'll have to work on it, just like the pod title. I didn't have one right off the bat. I didn't expect that question, to be honest.
Oh, you have to expect questions.
Yeah, especially potting with you. That's very true. Oh my god.
Okay, is it chemicals or is it electrical pulses in the neurons?
It's electrical pulses, right? But then the chemicals also cause that
serotonin.
The electrical stimulation to happen as well, right?
Okay.
So maybe it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Yeah,
it could be one. Yeah, it's one cannot live without the other. Yeah.
Or it's whatever drugs you're inhaling on that week. So.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think what we need to do is we need to get ourselves wired up to some sort of analysis machine. We all need to stream X player, insert player here, Matt O'Reilly. And when he gets his hat trick, we can have some sort of monitoring done and see what's going on in there, because it's going to be all kinds of worked up if that happens. Sorry, when that happens.
Yeah, I mean against Southampton this Friday. Come on.
Oh yeah, get me hooked up.
All right. So those are the questions, and that is the pod. Naru, I just want to say, like, now that, we've got the floor, we've got listeners, hopefully you're still tuned in at this point, but I just want to say a heartfelt thank you, not only from me, but also from Ryan. The amount of work and effort and time that you guys put into our Discord, and just being massive supporters and followers and now moderators, helping us, push the brand, helping us help people grow the community. Yeah, man, I owe you several pints. That's all I've got to say, right? I'm lost for words, honestly, sometimes with the amount that you guys do for us. I mean, listen, Ryan does nothing. Like, I'm going to tell Ryan that to his face all the fucking time. But, listen, I get overwhelmed at times. Like, I'm not always present, but anytime I jump in to catch up, and listen, I do catch up. That's one thing I'll tell you boys. Like, I might not be ever present, but I read every fucking message that goes in the Discord. Listen, man, I can't thank you enough, honestly.
It's a great place to be. I mean, it's the amount of stuff that's in there, the amount of just fun that's had, even during the international break. I mean, the amount of messages that were going around, and pictures, and just everything that goes on, even outside of Fantrax. It's just such a good community. So, yeah, I mean, if anyone's listening and you're not already part of it, come join the Discord. I mean, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, it's I would like to tell people, like, we're creating a brotherhood in that sense, right? Because like I tell people all the time, it's not just about football. There's other sports. We're gonna start a darts channel as well. I forgot to mention that to you. Well, I mean, we're mentioning it live now. But I think like the darts World Championship or something is coming up and stuff like that. We've got a couple of fans as well in our ranks. But yeah, we've got channels for literally everything. We share music, movies, foods that we cook, beers that we're drinking on the evening. Like, yeah, it's a safe space. You can literally talk about anything and everything. I mean, if you fuck around, you will find out like other people have. But yeah, like Naru said, it's free to join as well, right? Just DM us for a link. We're happy to send that over to you. But other than that, do you have any final words before we sign off, mate?
Have fun, everyone. It's a game. Make the best of it, and in best of luck in your game weeks.
Yeah, I don't think I could have added a better note. It's Ross's motto, as always, every time he's been on the pod. I don't know when next he's gonna be on the pod. But yeah, just good luck. Enjoy the football as it comes. There's going to be a lot of football over the next few weeks, right? And start your Christmas shopping. That's going to be my advice, because that shit's going to catch up on you very quickly as well.
Real quick.
So other than that, we will catch you on the next episode then. Peace.